Welcome to Therapists Say, the podcast where we talk about real life, real feelings, and the stuff everyone's dealing with, but no one really explains. We're here to make mental health make sense, keep things honest, and remind you that you're not the only one trying to figure it all out. Therapists Say is brought to you by Full Circle Therapy and Inner Wellness Therapeutic Services. Let's get into today's episode. And welcome back to another episode of Therapists Say. I'm your host, Mel.
I'm the co-host, Berry.
And it's just the two of us because Liz is sick.
Yeah, avoiding. I think she's avoiding because I was going to come at her.
What were you going to come at her about?
That she sucks at Googling things because that character's name is Vision.
Yes, she said the wrong character name.
A couple people told me. A couple people texted me.
But how did that happen on Google?
She Googled the character of WandaVision. And also, one of the other students was like, the title is so good because it's WandaVision and the character is Vision and maybe the other character is Wanda.
Yeah, probably.
I would think. So we sucked.
Oh.
Yeah.
And well, I have nothing to add because I have never seen any of those.
And also maybe she's avoiding because this is a relationships episode.
Which she doesn't like that much.
She doesn't.
Yeah, but also she's very ill. She's very sick.
All right.
And her kids have been sick. And
all right.
She had a fever. She's like at the urgent care.
Okay.
Poor thing.
I'll need to see a doctor's note.
I'm going to take a picture of it for you.
Okay.
Okay.
So do you have any shrink wrap?
No.
So it's just the two of us. This is going to be a little strange.
Yeah. I know. It's kind of weird. It's a little weird.
Plus I brought my shut the fuck up cup.
But maybe today's not the day to shut the fuck up because it's only two of us.
But I really was hoping to I felt like I was going to be more of a host today and interview you two. Because I feel like today's episode is a follow-up to our last episode about, I mean, the last episode was therapists and relationships, right?
Right.
And you two came across smelling like roses and I smelled like caca, I think.
Okay, but I think there's a big difference where you asked all of your exes that are no longer in a relationship with you.
Right.
And we asked our husbands who can't,
who are smart.
Right. Don't want to burn their house down.
Right. So, but I also got additional feedback. Well, yes. Okay. So that is true.
And they're women, whereas we asked men that are not of many words.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. So there is some difference.
Yeah, there was some skewing perhaps
of the data
to the sources.
Exactly.
Of the data. Right. Okay. Yes. But I was hoping to play host today and talk to you two about why your relationships are so good. Right? Like why?
I mean, I wouldn't say so good. I think every relationship has their ups and downs and some are better at some aspects of it than others.
Right. Okay.
So you just want to hear the negative stuff.
No. Today's topic was how to argue more effectively. Not effectively as win. I want to make that clear because that was some of the feedback I got. I'll get to that in a minute. Did I argue to win? You know? To have less conflict and more amicable results from the conflict.
Okay.
You know, where you guys aren't hating each other or whatever. Not that I think I will have things to add because I feel like most of the time I argue or fight well.
Okay.
Or disagree well. But sometimes I don't. Which brings me, so one of our my last girlfriend listened to the podcast and this sounds really bad, but I misspoke.
Okay.
And she pointed out that she said, I can be a master manipulator.
Oh, geez. Those are fighting words.
Yeah. And then I, in the podcast, was like, therapists can be potential manipulators. And she found it a little manipulative, perhaps, that I changed the wording.
Oh, yeah. I see.
So,
well, that doesn't
I think when she spoke, because she left me a voice message about that after listening to the podcast, and she was, I think, my interpretation, my perception was she was talking about when we would fight which we didn't fight a lot, but when we would fight, like I guess she sees it as spinning things, like to the point where she forgets what her position even is. Like I think I'm just good at fighting, but never mind. I'm good at winning.
Okay, but I think that's a common thing in conflict. I do.
Yeah, but then a student yesterday, a student who listens to the podcast,
okay,
who might even be a sponsor, said that said that she doesn't, like, she has whatever. There's this friend of hers that she was going to talk to about aspects of the class for extra credit, and she's like, "Oh, but he's so locked into his perception, like you." Like she kept saying, like one of the other students was like, "You could say all this without making Berry feel bad." Basically, she was basically coming at a friend, but saying I was just like him. Like I'm hard-headed. I argue like vehemently a point, you know what I mean? Like he does. Well, she was saying he does like me. He's just like you. That's what she kept saying. He's just like you. And I'm like, damn, like you're just jabbing me. So apparently I argue vehemently. So that's why I was hoping to play host more.
Oh, because you didn't want to argue?
Fight. Yeah, I don't fight about a lot of things, but when I fight, I tend to fight like I'm too attached to my perception, which I've been working on, not being as attached to my perception.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. I'm not making a lot of progress. Apparently. Apparently the student said it. My last girlfriend said it. Like I've been working on it a while. Yeah. All right. So that's the topic. There was a couple other things from the last podcast. A con I might have missed, like I was reviewing the notes after the podcast, after we were done. And one of the cons is therapists not practicing what they preach in relationships. Because again, we kind of covered we're not perfect, right? Like we make mistakes, we're human, but that can be thrown in our face also. Like if I'm a therapist and I'm arguing the way I argue, then maybe I'm not being a very good therapist at that moment, but I'm not a therapist at that moment. These are interpersonal relations outside of therapy, but you get what I'm saying, right? Do you? Was I clear? No. That's a no.
Well, I just feel like we have a lot of knowledge about how to have the perfect disagreement. Like we know the recipe.
And that's what we're going to do today. You're going to tell people that recipe.
I know it. But when you're in the moment and you're maybe arguing or in a disagreement with your significant other, it's very easy for that to go out the window.
Right.
So then you're saying that we're judged for that.
Well, I'm saying
because we're therapists.
Yeah, I think it's two-part. One is we're not practicing what we preach, and the second part is people point that out to us.
Yes,
and expect us to always practice what we preach. So yeah, and then I forgot to mention this: the day of the podcast or the day before the podcast, I had listened to it's a podcast called This American Life. It's like stories.
Yeah, you've mentioned.
And it's funny because it was a personal, like the host is named Ira Glass. And the host was talking about all the times his parents had been on his podcast over the years, right? And his mom was a therapist, but defensive. Like she never owned anything, apparently. Like he was saying, I think both his parents are deceased. I know his mom is, for sure. I think. I don't know for sure, I think now. I would hate to get that wrong. But basically he was saying his mom's whole life, if they ever brought anything to her, she was super defensive and didn't own it. And the one time he brought something to his dad about something from childhood, his dad was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I'm so sorry it was like that. Like, I'm sorry."
And he wasn't the therapist.
Yeah. He's like an accountant.
Oh, that's funny.
The dad was like an accountant, I think. And the mom's a therapist. And the mom was defensive, which, you know, we shouldn't be, right? Like we're all about lowering defenses and not being defensive. So I thought that was a good story that I totally missed. I mean, I had it written, but probably not as well. Yeah. Like I thought I would remember it and I didn't remember it during the podcast.
Maybe that goes back to the manipulative part.
Me?
Like that therapists could be manipulative.
Right. Maybe. Like we see our point and we try to get other people to see our point because we're convinced we're right.
I feel I'm guilty of that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what the student was pointing out yesterday, that when I'm convinced, like there's no changing my mind.
Yeah.
And her friend is like that, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I need to work on. I mean, it goes against my whole belief system being that way.
Yeah.
And then one other thing it's related. Sabrina had listened to the episode and she actually brought up other things that we'll talk about when Liz is. I mean, this is about Liz, so maybe I should have waited for Liz, but I'm trying to wrap up last episode in today's shrink wrap, right? So Sabrina felt needing to resolve the issue immediately.
Oh, yeah. I feel like that's what Liz would be talking about if she was.
She did say.
Yeah.
She had said in the podcast, no, we're not waiting to talk about this. Like we need. She said that Sabrina sees that as avoidant rather than the opposite. Like when the person doesn't want to deal with it, either one can be avoidant, is what she's saying. Like the need to resolve it right now is avoidant because I can't sit with my uncomfortableness about the fight. And I thought that was that's a good point.
I like that point. Yeah, I've never thought of it that way.
After I talked to Sabrina for a while the other day, we were talking on the phone, and at the end of the phone call, I was like, she should be the one on the podcast, and I should not be. Like she's really smart, and I feel like And she said it's also a myth. Don't go to bed angry, and I don't know that I knew that. You know?
Yes.
That? Oh,
yes.
I don't think I knew that.
Yes. That's one of those when you're getting married and they like leave you like advice for the couple.
Yeah.
It's always like, don't go to bed angry. Like that's always one of them. And it never worked for me. Like I remember thinking that and I'm like, this doesn't work in certain situations. You can't wrap up a disagreement and you need that time. You need to go to sleep and cool off and then wake up with a fresh new attitude.
Wow.
Yeah. I think I wrote something about that one time.
Did you? Is it going to be in our book?
We should put it in our book.
All right. I don't think I ever got advice at my wedding. Maybe that's why my marriage has worked out.
I mean, I don't remember any advice.
You just remembered that somebody wrote.
No, it's like everybody, like that's like common knowledge, like number one advice, don't go to bed angry.
Oh, but I thought you were saying they write that on your.
I'm sure somebody wrote it.
To you on your wedding day.
Like on like at a bridal shower, like one of those things that you tell them.
Well, no one gave me advice.
Maybe they gave your wife advice.
That didn't work out either.
I mean, usually advice that you get doesn't really
work out,
do anything for you.
That's why we don't give advice as therapists.
Exactly. Gotta just.
All right, that's all I have for shrink wrap. That was all I had, I think. Yeah. Oh, we didn't mention prosciutto sourdough.
Oh, I got cookies for
you got
Joe
cookies today, and I saw you eating one.
I did.
Are they amazing?
It's so good. Yeah. The cookies are amazing. If you haven't tried them, because we always talk about the cinnamon rolls, but the cookies, chocolate chip cookies, the best. And then one of the therapists got banana bread sourdough. It looked good. I know you don't like banana bread, but
I don't think I'm a fan of that.
Right, no. You said that.
Yeah.
But it looked.
I got cinnamon rolls because that's what I get, and I had one. So if I look fat today, that's why. Like I haven't put on. No, I have. I put on. Like I had lost 13 pounds, and I put like 5 back on. I know. I'm very upset with myself. I got to get back on it.
Yeah.
The cinnamon rolls aren't helping.
It's okay.
Right. Just had a whole.
I'm sure that's like the first thing you.
I just
today,
had.
So.
Yeah. It'll be the only thing too.
Probably. You'll probably have one for dinner.
And a vitamin.
So balance.
Yeah.
It's
a balance.
Balance.
Yeah. It's all about balance.
Okay. So what exactly is your question? Yes.
I don't remember. Didn't I send it to you guys? What?
Not really. You just said like a topic.
Oh, healthy arguing. That was the topic.
Oh, that's it.
That's the topic. So, yeah. So you said you have the recipe for healthy arguing. Didn't you just say that?
I did.
Like 6 minutes ago.
I did. Yes. One of our listeners sent a question about what books I've read.
Yes.
Right. And so that's what kind of got me thinking.
That's a student of mine.
Yes.
Yeah, he told me he was sending you a question.
Yeah. And so that got me thinking that the two main books that are my go-to in my mind, because I've read like a bunch of them, but I think the two that I always quote in therapy is by Gottman, 7 Principles of Making Marriage Work.
Oh, Making Marriage Work.
Making Marriage Work.
Right.
Yes. And the second one is His Needs, Her Needs by Willard Harley.
I don't think I ever heard of him.
No, that book is about, that's where the emotional needs questionnaire comes from.
Oh.
Yeah. And so that book is about affairs and how to have a affair-proof marriage, or how to work through your marriage or relationship after an affair. So that one I like a lot. That's where I got the emotional needs questionnaire. And then the Gottman one, the 7 Principles, is like my go-to recipe. And then it's super cliche, but I love Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. It's like the most cliche old book in the history of couples therapy.
I've never read any of those. I have said men are from Mars and women are from Venus because I believe that to be true.
Very true.
Like, we're very different in our approaches to things. Although I think as generations move on, it's becoming less and less so.
Yeah, I would agree.
But I still think there's differences.
Yeah, there's
in the
definitely
way we, and not in a negative way. I think we're just different.
No, I think in the way that we process things and understand things. The example that I use a lot is men are more like to the point. Like if their partner's coming at them being like, oh my gosh, Susie's such a bitch and blah, blah, blah. And like, we just want to vent. And the guy's like, stop being friends with Susie. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And the women's like, what? Like, just listen to my drama right now, And
I think that is my most common example. Like in couples therapy, I talk about it in classes that men are problem focused. Like, let's solve the problem. And women want to vent or like empathy. I always send this video. It's not about the nail, which you can, if you Google it on YouTube or search on YouTube, it's not about the nail. It's like, it's from Funny or Die.
I think you've mentioned it before. Yeah.
It's basically a woman that has a nail in her head.
Yes.
Yeah. And her boyfriend or whatever he is, her partner, is like, we got to get that nail out of your head. And she's like, it's not about the nail. You know what I mean? It's about my sweaters snagging and my aching head. And she wants to be heard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of that
it's
book is about that. Yeah.
Oh, His Needs, Her Needs?
No.
Oh,
the Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Yeah. Yeah. But His Needs, Her Needs are about emotional needs. Like, that's what the whole book is about.
Right.
And then the Gottman 7 Principles is basically a recipe of how to make marriage work.
Right. I don't think I can name every relationships book I've read. I've read Esther Perel's The State of Affairs because a lot of my clients at one point, like you, I mean, that's your specialty, but there was a time where I was seeing a lot of clients that had infidelity. And that's a great book.
That's a go-to.
About infidelity.
Yes.
What else comes to mind? The reason you and I are writing a book, or that I got back to writing a book, is I read How to Love Better, I think, by Young Pablo or something, Young Pueblo. I did not love it. It was good. It comes from like a mindfulness Buddhist perspective.
Yeah, I haven't read it, but I've heard about it.
Yeah, I was disappointed, honestly, and that's why I was like, I gotta write. I gotta write mine.
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna do.
We're gonna do.
We are doing
in this
we are
century.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so where do you want to start? That's it. We're going to go into the recipe right now.
Well, I guess, what is your secret with Joe? And if Liz were here, I'd be asking her what her secret is with Eddie to have, more reasonable disagreements. Like, I'm sure you guys have disagreements. And actually, a student asked me this in class, and I guess I want to get this out, like the little bit of knowledge I have. I always say, if there's no conflict in a relationship, someone's eating shit.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be conflict. Two people live together, they're going to have disagreements. How to load the dishwasher. There's all kinds of disagreements. So you and Joe have disagreements. So what 100%. Keeps you guys so good?
So from my perspective, which is very much about emotional needs, I think it's about making sure that my emotional needs are being fulfilled and that his are being fulfilled. It's hard to see that in the middle of a conflict, right?
It is, right.
But the most work, just like in therapy, happens when you're not in the therapy room, when you're out in the real world, being able to apply whatever you've learned. And I think that goes for arguments too and disagreements. In the moment, it's really hard to see that, to be like, wait, according to my book, his needs, her needs, this is what I have to be doing. That's like not going to happen. So after, when everything is cooled off and you're able to like think back to what went wrong in this disagreement, you're going to get an opportunity, another opportunity. And I tell this to my couples, once we're in therapy and we're dissecting an argument that they had or a fight, I always tell them, I promise you, you're going to have the opportunity to maybe do better in the next argument. It's going to come up again, or something along the lines is going to come up. And so for us, I'm usually arguing because I feel misunderstood, or that he's not understanding what I'm saying, or that's usually what's going on. And so then I try to convince him to understand the way that I'm thinking, right? But he's focused on his own stuff and getting me to understand what he's thinking. So then it never gets resolved if we're stuck in that way.
Right.
So I think understanding what is it that I need from that situation. And I asked him this morning, actually. I told him we were going to talk about this topic, and I was like, what is it? We had like a minor disagreement in the morning. It was like something very minor. I can't even remember what it was. And I asked him, I was like, oh, wait, why didn't we get into like a full blown out fight this morning about this minor disagreement? And so I'm like, because I could use that in the episode. And so he thinks about it for a second, and he's like, well, I knew that if I didn't get to a 10, I would probably get lucky tonight. And so then that made me think about the emotional needs. I'm like, this is exactly about emotional needs. And so if one of his main emotional needs, or like love language, right, if we're going to talk about that, is affection or sexual fulfillment, then that's what he's thinking about in the argument. He's like, oh shit, if we get into this full-blown fight, then I'm not going to be able to have the affection and sexual fulfillment that I enjoy from my partner. So let me keep it at a 5 and not at a 10.
Okay.
So I think that is a driving force for him. But in terms of me and my emotional needs, which also brings me to triggers.
Okay.
Because certain things maybe trigger me, like if he gets loud, or if he if he's getting defensive for a certain reason, then that makes me anxious, and then I want him to stop. So then I have to check myself and think to myself, am I going to respond in a negative way just because I'm feeling triggered? Or am I going to take a breath, understand that he's upset because of X, Y, Z, but it doesn't have to go further than that? So there was a few things that I brought up there.
Well, the one that was easy to follow was Joe wanting to get lucky, so biting his tongue a little bit,
exactly,
right? I mean, he didn't escalate.
Right.
And that helped. Right. Okay. And then the second aspect was the triggers, and then your emotional needs, which I don't know. Like, did you express what your emotional needs were in that fight?
You know, that I think your emotional needs and your love language can change throughout your lifespan. And I think right now I'm probably at a stage in my life where one of my top emotional needs is probably affection. And you tend to give the emotional need that's most important to you.
Right.
That's like...
Which is erroneous.
Exactly.
It's an error.
Exactly. Which is not good.
Right.
But it's helpful when you have like similar top emotional needs. And I know that one of his is affection. So that's probably playing a role. And so I tried to get into a space of, I need affection. I know that he likes affection. If this blows up, then I'm not going to get the affection either that I like from our relationship.
Right.
So I think that also helped me to stay calm.
Yeah, I think one thing I would want to follow up on before we go to the triggers is, like we both mentioned, like whether it's emotional needs, the 10 emotional needs, right? There's 10.
There's 10.
Right. I haven't memorized that yet. I started using it with one couple and they stopped coming as a couple. So there's 10 emotional needs and the love languages is 5 love languages. And one of his arguments in the 5 love languages is if your cup is full, then this stuff is less likely to happen anyhow, right? Like, you know, you're less likely to see your partner in a negative light because your love language is like, he uses your tank, which I don't know. I thought that was kind of corny, but it is also accurate. Like you have a tank of love, and if it's near empty, you're much more likely to see your partner negatively.
Yeah.
But we mismatch them a lot because the way we feel loved is how we assume others feel loved.
Yes.
And then we express it that way, and their love language is something else, and they're like, that doesn't do a thing for me.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, that's my main argument.
So since you and Joe both have affection as a top one, that's helpful in not escalating. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then you were talking about triggers.
Yeah, but see, the trigger, I feel like we could be talking about this for like days. But when it comes to the triggers, and I think this has to do with something that you mentioned. It was about avoiding.
All right.
And this reminds me a lot of Liz, because Liz is constantly saying that she needs to finish an argument right now, and she can't sit with the uncomfortableness of waiting to come back to an argument, which I don't think that's something that maybe she's realized, because as you said it, is when I was like, wow, that's really true.
Yeah. And Sabrina pointed that out. Sabrina caught that.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
That was really good. But it's kind of a trigger.
The avoidance is a trigger?
For Liz, in that example, that's the trigger, is having to wait and sit with it. For me, a trigger is realizing that something's escalating and that it might be like a big fight or something. And so this morning, I had to sit with checking myself because I was afraid of it becoming a bigger argument. So I had to take a breath, understand where he was coming from, and kind of bite my tongue, because I know that we get into arguments when I try to convince him otherwise. You know, now that I think about it, there was a lot going on.
Right. That helped keep it from escalating.
That helps keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is work. I think it is work.
So
and I think you're saying that because, like, I know Liz isn't here and now we're using her as the example, but in the example of, for Liz, Ed avoiding, like saying, I don't want to talk about this right now, is a trigger for her to escalate, let's say. But him being pushed to talk now is a trigger for him, and that's the escalation. And Esther Perel calls that like your dance, right? Like this is the dance couples do, where like this is happening and then this happens on your end, and you know, we escalate, or we you know, it becomes you know, or we you know, I don't know, don't talk to each other for a week or whatever happens, right? That's kind of the dance. So I think being aware of the dance is like, you had to sit and check, like, I know this is Joe's trigger, so how do I not trigger him? And then this is my trigger. I don't know if I mean, he was. Like when he said, my only chance of getting lucky tonight is not escalate.
Exactly.
He was knowing that's your trigger.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really good. I feel like that was good.
Yeah.
Like we could drop the mic right now and end the podcast.
There you go.
Just kidding.
That's all you have to do.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I have a couple notes also.
Okay.
Like
at some point, I want to talk about the 7 principles.
Okay. You want to do that now?
I don't know. I guess it depends what you wanted to bring up.
Well, the things I wanted to bring up are more observations, right? Like, well, one we covered, avoiding conflict is not the answer. Like I had said, a student had asked me, do you think relationships have to have conflict? And I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
I like healthy conflict, you know, it doesn't have to be a blowout fight. It doesn't even it doesn't even have to be a fight. And when I use the word argue, I use it to mean like a lawyer argues. I try to say, I'm arguing with a client. We're arguing, like we're both stating our perceptions of a thing. We're not necessarily escalated.
Right. Yeah,
Arguing can be calm.
Yeah.
Right. So when I say arguing, I don't mean it in a negative way.
And that's what I really meant about this morning. Like I'm telling you, I can't even think of
about
what it was about. Yeah.
So I think we covered that one. And then I had how you fight is important. Because like, I mean, I'm sure you hear this also, like horror stories of how people fight.
Yeah.
Right.
It's rough out there.
Yeah. Like the things people say to each other that are just so horrible and it's hard to come back from. Like I remember working with a couple that they wouldn't have sex for like a month or two after a big fight because she's like, I can't be attracted to someone that spoke to me that way. You know what I mean? Like, that said those kind of things to me. Like it takes me a while to kind of come back to attraction or love or any of that. So how you fight is important, which is hard. Like, I mean, look, people murder each other, right? Like, you know, people beat each other up. Like all these things happen because we lose control of our, like, I think most of us reasonably don't make the decision. I mean, I guess you do. That's premeditated murder. Like that's what it is, right? Like you've made the decision to kill somebody. But I think most of us in our rational minds don't want it to go there with our partners or family or whatever. So yeah, I think we lose control. We get triggered, they get triggered, like it escalates and the next thing we know, we're like yelling at each other and saying things that we don't really mean. So yeah. I only have 2 other bullet points, and I want to maybe your 7 principles will, or not yours, Gottman's.
Exactly.
I'm interested in this though. I think I was supposed to read that book at some point, and
it's a good book.
I didn't. And I like Gottman. Like I've read a lot of Gottman's stuff, not his books. Like I've read. Well, I heard him on several podcasts, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 podcasts. And then also I've read articles that have been written about him where he's interviewed and like he's giving, like Masters of Love is one of my favorite articles. Oh, you know?
Yeah.
I send that to so many couples because of bids for attention.
Yeah, and that comes up
and the 4 ways you can respond to a bid for attention.
That's why I love Gottman a lot of that is so really, much. Yeah, because he has a lot of like 1, 2, 3 like steps, like follow this.
Right. Yeah. Stop responding this way. Respond this way.
Yeah, it's very helpful. Yeah, it's super helpful in couples therapy because a lot of times people are coming in being like, help me, give me like a how to.
In my opinion, if he can put up with that wife, if that's working for him, then it's gotta work. That was a joke, but also I don't like his wife.
Yeah.
On podcasts. Like I've never met her, but she just seems like I couldn't with her.
I think that's
She's
one
like
of the
such
first
a little
things
nag.
I told you about the Gottmans.
Yeah.
That I don't like watching them speak together. Yeah. No.
And she's the clinician.
Yeah, it's wild.
Like he's the researcher. All right, a little history. John Gottman is a researcher. He's not even a therapist, right? He's a researcher. He has the Gottman Lab or whatever it is.
Yes.
And it's been there 20 years and he just watches couples. He puts them in a situation where they argue and then he watches how they argue. And from all that, I've read this in numerous books, he can predict with 90% accuracy whether they'll be together in 7 years or not.
Yes.
Just by the way they fight in like a 5-minute clip or less. Right? So he's done all this research, years and years and years and years, decades of research. And he marries her and she's a therapist and they start working together and doing these trainings and training therapists. But I hear her on podcasts and I'm like, dude, why her? You know, like, holy shit. Like, but she's the clinician. And to me, she's so annoying. Like, I wouldn't want her as a therapist. I wouldn't want her as a family member. Like, I'm okay with her not being on the planet. Like, that sounds horrible. But, like, I listen to her and talk the way she talks to him. Like, it triggers something in me, right? Like, probably from childhood.
Right.
But it triggered, like,
who does she remind you of?
Oh, so many. So many. We don't have time for that. Although you're doing all the self-disclosure today.
No, I'm going to get at you. Don't worry.
Liz wasn't even here.
I will turn this around.
All right. I just think his like the stuff he's written is really great. Like you said.
They're great.
Like the bids. Like, just to explain bids, anytime your partner talks to you about anything, it's a bid for connection. And I love that theory, right? That like if I say the most mundane thing to someone that
Yes.
in this case it's partners, right? But I'm not with a partner currently. But if I had a partner and I say something, even if it's just like, oh look, like we're driving, oh look,
Yes.
look at that flower, that he uses in the article I read, a bird, right?
Yeah, that's what I always
and it's just
say.
It's just a bid to connect. And the way the partner responds to that bid, there's like there's 4 ways, 3 of which aren't great, some of which are horrible, one of which is horrible, one of the 4 is horrible. I think 2 are pretty bad. A third one is like bad, but not horrible. And then there's a good one, one good one.
Yes.
So you have all that, I guess.
Yes, I have all that. Okay, so I'll just go down what the 7 principles are first and give like a little synopsis. Okay, the first one is build love maps. Have you ever done that with a couple? Build their love map? Yeah, it's like a thing. It's basically know your partner's inner world. So it's like understanding your partner, their stress, their history, their fears, their goals, their daily life.
So like that takes a long time. That would sound like.
And this is why I love Gottman. It would probably take me like 2 sessions probably, I think, to like do the love maps. If that's like just what we're doing, not if the couple comes in and is like, listen to this horrible argument.
It sounded like longer to me. Honestly, to like really get I get it. Like we're just talking about the present. But you said also their history. Right?
Their history. But a lot of times we know some of the history, right? Hopefully you know the history. But if we're going to build a love map, for example, like you would put childhood and then you could put like grew up in Chicago, middle child of 3, close to their grandma, like something like that. Career, aspires to start his own tech company, currently works as a software engineer, hobbies, likes hiking, photography, like that kind of stuff. So it's not like you're writing like a whole book about your partner, but something that if I'm sitting here and you ask me what is Joe's what was Joe's childhood like, there's maybe a top 4 or 5 that would be my go-to, right? Kind of like that.
All right.
So that's what building a love map is about. And it's about knowing your partner. You know?
I feel like when I was picturing love map, it was more, especially the history part. Like I listen to Esther Perel's Where Should We Begin every week. And she's really good at that. She's really good at what's going on right now and how it taps into your like.
I love that. It's very psychodynamic.
Yeah, nuclear family.
Yeah.
That's how I picture love map. Like what were the relationships like in your family, which then to me is more than a couple sessions, but maybe not. Like
but then again, I like to separate my couples sometimes. Like I'll do like a couple sessions of them together to get like a good understanding, and then I'll see one of them individually. And I mean, I feel like building a love map you could probably do like in the background for like a lot of sessions,
Yeah.
But if we're gonna sit down and like here's a pen and paper and build this love map, then you could do that also as an exercise.
So that was the first one.
That's the first one. The second one is share fondness and admiration. So express appreciation regularly, which is more about having more respect than criticism.
Right.
So
Gottman's 4 horsemen, criticism is one of them.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So that's number 2. Number 3 is turn toward instead of away. And I feel like I'm talking about this all the time with my couples is turning towards each other instead of away. And this is respond to bids for connection. So small moments matter more than big ones is kind of what it's.
And I think for the listener, like just to clarify that, like we're all busy and sometimes we start viewing our partner as like another task, like they're trying to talk to us and we got these other things to do,
right?
And that's what that's like turning toward is like, let me put these things aside and actually listen.
And when it comes to conflict, like I talk about this a lot in conflict, like when we're having an argument and one of the partners makes a point like this really bothers me, right? It's so easy for us to discount it because we're really bothered by something else. And so I talk about turning towards each other in those moments, like, and using phrases like, I see you, I understand what you're saying, like, you know, and that's turning towards each other instead of, no, you're an idiot for thinking that, right? That would be turning away. I think this is more talking about like the bigger picture, kind of like what you were saying, but I also use it.
Well, not just the bigger picture, but like you said, the little interactions add up. Like, we might go on a great vacation every year or whatever, Like we have like a big date night once a month or whatever, but it's the little day-to-day stuff that's important.
Absolutely. Yeah. Number 4 is let your partner influence you. Be open to compromise. Healthy relationships are not control battles. This is also a really big one. Right.
Yeah, I wrote about that a long time ago for when I was writing for Psychology Today online, the blog. I wrote relationships aren't a zero-sum like matter, meaning it's not win or lose. It's not, you know what I mean? It's like not like it's not about that. It's about compromise. Right. For sure.
Right. And I hear a lot of couples say, but I'm always like giving in. Like I'm like, why do I always have to give in? Right. And that's why like a compromise is important. Like in a compromise, like no one is super happy about a compromise. Right. Like I want it my way and you want it your way. And so
we're both giving something up.
Something up. That's a compromise. Right.
Well, I used to teach one of these classes I teach. I only teach it online now, but there's a reading about that and how it's really hard. Like the best one is when we both get what we want without giving anything up.
Yeah.
But that is so hard and it's so time consuming. Actually, and sometimes it's not possible.
Yeah. This just reminded me this morning. Oh, actually, we have a conflict with the kids. Blake has his first soccer game of the season on Sunday. And Leilani has her first softball tournament of the season. Leilani's first game on Sunday is at 10:15 in the morning, and Blake's first soccer game of the season is 10:30 in the morning. So he was like, oh, did you see the times for the kids? And I was like, oh, no, I didn't. We look it up. And I'm like, oh, no, what are we going to do? And he's like, okay, hear me out for a second. And he's like, we have 2 options. And so the first option was his parents taking Blake, and I go with him to Leilani's, or my cousin, because Blake plays with his cousins on the same soccer team. So the other option was my cousins taking him to the game. And he's like, or option 2 is you take Blake to his soccer game. I'll take Leilani. And then when Blake's soccer's over, you just meet us at the field. And so I thought about it for a second and what I wanted. And I kind of want to be there for both the kids. So I was like, okay, fine, let's choose option 2 and we'll just go separate, whatever. And we were so proud of ourselves for coming up with a solution. And he is kind of sad that he can't go watch Blake. And, you know, so like, I don't think either of us won because I'm going to end up missing Leilani's first, like the first game of the tournament. But we were really proud of ourselves for finding this solution, and we both had to compromise. But I also let myself be influenced by his options, because I could have thrown in option 3, and then like I could see how that could have gotten us in an argument, because then he would have fought for his 2 options, and I would have fought for my options, you know. But I let myself be influenced by what he came up with, and we came to
an agreement. Yeah.
So that's my in real life story.
So that was let yourself be that bullet point, or that
let your partner influence you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I let my partner influence me.
All right.
8+ for me this morning.
Yeah. You always come out looking good in this podcast.
Well, I mean, the question was, what do I do to keep
I know. So I was joking.
I could sit here and say all the things I do wrong. 5 is solve solvable problems. So that kind of goes into also what we were talking about.
Right.
It says handle practical issues with good communication, soft startups, repair attempts, compromise.
Yeah. Do you want to explain any of those?
Yeah. Soft startups is like, don't come at me hot. Like, you know, like.
Yeah, I've read about his harsh startups where it's like, you always do this, or, you know what I mean? Like, you're kind of coming at the person with, I guess, an aggressive stance. Which doesn't usually go well.
Right.
So yeah,
more
like
I statements.
Yeah, I statements.
I feel.
Yeah, and you know, maybe like, I mean, I don't know always respond to this well, but when somebody comes up and they're like, "Can we talk for a minute?" and it's like, we're like, I don't know that saying, "Can you not get mad about this?" is a good thing, because I might already be like, all right, what's coming?
Yeah, that's true.
But usually when someone says that, I never do get mad. Like, I think I actually walk out going, why'd you think I would get mad at that? You know what I mean? Like, that
I've used a lot, I don't want to fight. Like, I don't want to fight, but...
Do you consider that a soft startup?
I don't know, because it usually doesn't go well for me.
Right, I don't know
if I start
either.
it that way.
Yeah, I think we should look for other words.
Yeah.
All right.
The other one's repair attempts.
Yeah.
Which goes with the bids also.
Right. Well, I understood repair attempts is like, if you're arguing with your partner, you do something funny to relieve the tension.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. That's a repair attempt. I'm also throwing that
like
at my
to
couples all the
diffuse
time.
it. Yeah, to diffuse it.
Yeah.
Like, make a funny face or just be like, you know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rage right now.
Yes.
Maybe not that.
Maybe not. And I mean, but being aware of repair attempts, because I think if you're not aware of it, it'll happen and you don't realize it. So I try to bring it up with my couples when they bring up an argument, and I'll be like, okay, well, that was a repair attempt that you kind of missed there. Sometimes if we're not aware of what a repair attempt is, we do it not knowing that it really was, you know,
a repair attempt.
Right. Exactly.
But the other person has to also like you were saying, it would be helpful. I don't know if Gottman says this or not, but to be aware. A good repair attempt, they don't have to be aware. It just has to be effective. Like, it has to diffuse them somehow.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which is we could talk about emotional needs. And like, if you know your partner's emotional needs, or if you know their love map, you know, then you're able to do a repair attempt.
Yeah, your repair attempt would be more accurate. Exactly. Like, I'm trying to think of ones in my history that have worked for me. And it's like we're fighting and then they just become affectionate. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Right. It's not worth it.
Right. This is something that Joe and I like talk a lot about, like, after like an argument or something. And it probably helps that I'm a therapist, but I'll go back and I'll ask him, like, what could we have done different? And it doesn't sound like super therapist, like I'm saying right now, like, you know, it's more natural. And a lot of times he's told me, like, you know, like, what makes me happy or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but like, remind me. 'Cause like, I kind of don't know in the moment, you know? So, yeah. So knowing what works. The next, number 6, is overcome gridlock. So work through ongoing stuck issues, understand the deeper meaning behind the conflict. Which I love, because I love a good psychodynamic session, and I'm all about understanding.
Yeah, I love knowing what's really under the conflict. Like, okay, this is a conflict, and like, sometimes it's a pattern, right? What's going on underneath of it? I think that is something really worth exploring that a lot of times people aren't aware of. Like, how it reminds them of something from childhood. Often they don't feel loved because of that, which probably also comes from childhood.
Yeah,
but yeah,
totally.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yep. And then 7, which is one of my favorites, is create shared meaning. So build a life together with purpose, rituals, values, traditions, shared goals. I talk to my couples a lot about this, that I'm like, I usually say it like, what's your thing? Like, as a couple, like, what's something that's like yours? And I remember with one of my couples, I kept asking them this question and they kept being like, I don't know. They were in the thick of it, of having little kids, and his job was very demanding. And so it was hard for them to create a shared ritual or something that was theirs. And in one of the sessions, one of the partners tells me, he's like, we like to drink tea together. Like, and I was like, tea? And she was like, yeah, we like tea. And so like, it kind of became like an inside joke. But then they started having like tea dates. So they would like put the kids to bed and they would like sample different teas, and it kind of became their thing. And
Cool.
yeah, they got married, and as their wedding gift, I gave them like this, which it's a whole thing. Can a therapist give you a gift?
Yeah, you're just throwing yourself out there.
But I'm going to throw myself out there because I think it was wonderful for the therapeutic relationship. And I felt like it was super thoughtful, and I gave them this like cute little tea set, and it was like a nice moment for the three of us. So those are the 7 principles.
One of the things I remember from Gottman is not all fights or arguments are resolvable. Like there's things where like sometimes we have to agree to disagree, and and then you have to figure out how to negotiate that. Like, you know, obviously if it's a big thing like raising the kids, that's one thing, where loading the dishwasher is less, you know, less. Yeah, but like not everything's resolvable, and we have to figure out how to negotiate.
That. There's like a simple way to remember the 7 principles that I also like. Sometimes I'll like have my clients like write it in their notepad, like in their like phone on their notes section. And so to make the 7 like super short is number 1 is know them. Number 2 is appreciate them. 3 is show up for them. 4, respect them. 5, work things out. 6, understand differences. And 7, build something together. So that's the recipe.
Make it easier.
There you go.
All right. One of the questions that has boggled my mind, and I think it's evident in most relationships, is why are we thinking the way we think about the person we love the most, right? Like we've chosen this person. And this happened to me recently. My last girlfriend was texting me, like she was joking, and I took it incredibly negatively, right? Like thought ill of her. And then like after she explained, I was like, I don't know why I think so highly of her. Why did I even go there? Like, what do you think of that, Mel? Like it boggles my mind sometimes how couples, you chose to be with this person, yet you think the worst of them, especially in couples therapy. Like in couples therapy, it's like sometimes when they're really like on the ropes, it's like they think so horribly of this person.
I kind of feel like it comes from a built up resentment.
Sure.
You know, I think that's where it's coming from.
I don't think, like in my case,
I know, I was thinking about your case.
With my cases, I can't think that. Like, I don't think I resent her. Like, I think the world of her. Still, like, we're going to be.
Did it trigger you? Maybe it was like some sort of a trigger.
I don't know. But to think of her badly, like, it's one thing for it to make me angry, but then my thoughts go to malicious, like she's being malicious. And what I wrote down, because I find this really effective, I've heard it, I probably said it on this podcast, I've heard it in a number of podcasts, is the most generous interpretation.
Yes.
Yeah.
You say that a lot.
But I feel like sometimes we have the least generous interpretation or the most malicious.
And that's one of them, like to think of them fondly. That's one of the 7 principles.
I think if I was going to venture a theory, it would be our vulnerability. We've made ourselves so vulnerable to this person, and we see them as like the vulnerability scares us. And then when something hurts us, we're scared and hurt, and we become angry and like they're doing this on purpose or whatever. I don't know.
It's like a trigger.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like what you described.
Yeah, but I think it's the vulnerability. Like, I don't know. I feel like humans are uncomfortable with vulnerability, like being vulnerable. And even to their partner who they've decided to trust, right? And then something happens and it's like even you and Joe, like let's say you and Joe fight. Some of the anger that either of you is experiencing, or some of the thoughts you might have about him or he may have about you, are not generous, right? They're kind of awful.
Yeah.
Like you're doing this to me. Like, I don't know how many times I've heard that in couples therapy. Like, he keeps doing this to me. Like it's some kind of sadistic, you know? And do you really think that of your partner? Probably not. But you do. Like, in like
the
you're
moment.
saying it. Yeah. I don't know. I wish we had a cure for that, you know?
the cure for that is doing your own work. You know, it's really understanding yourself.
Right.
Because like, yeah, like we'll get into arguments and I'll be like, but why did that bother you so much? Like, what was it that I said that I guess triggered something in you that bothered you? I could say that, but if your partner or if like me, right? If we're not going to do the work to really figure that out, then I feel like it's going to keep happening. And I feel like I'm like trying, like I'm plugging therapy in here.
Right.
But
sure.
You can also work on yourself with, as much as I love therapy, I do think that you could work on yourself and be introspective and really try to understand yourself without going to therapy.
I agree. Like I say all the time, the answers are available
absolutely
on the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and in books, like you can find the information. It's applying that becomes difficult, but you can work at that. I think the other side of the cure is just to ask that question, like, why am I doing this? Why, like, how can I have the most generous interpretation of my partner? Yeah. Like to challenge that impulse, like, ooh, I'm thinking my partner's evil in this moment.
And now that you say that, it kind of, what came to mind was empathy and like working on your empathy.
Right.
You know, so that you can
put yourself in their
shoes.
Yeah. I've been reading a lot lately and something talked about that, like perspective taking. I can't remember where I read it. It might be in the, I'm almost
Didn't
done
we talk
this
about
book
that
in
the other episode?
Probably.
I think we did. Yeah. I think I had brought it up, and then I think you said, "Oh, that's perspective taking."
Yeah, to step out of my perspective
and look at it from a different lens,
from a different angle.
All of that requires work, and this is why they say marriage and relationships are work.
I know that, right? Like I know that, and I think people know that. Like people verbally say that, but I say to my students all the time, like, most of you are probably hoping to meet someone, get married, have a family. And the chances of that, like that's work. And everybody's like, yeah. But I don't know that they really expect the work that is involved.
And I've heard people say, it can't be this hard. Marriage can't be this hard. Like the grass has to be greener on the other side, right? But a lot of times I'm like, depending on like what's going on, right? I'm not talking about domestic violence or anything like that.
Right.
But I'm like, no, I think that's why they say it's hard because it is
this hard. Right. So what you're saying proves my point, like immensely. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, yes, I know it's work. Wait a minute. It's not this much work.
Right.
This much work means there's something like it's not meant to be.
Right.
Like we need a divorce.
Yeah.
And no, that is the work.
Yeah, that's the work. The divorce is easy.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, like a lot.
I mean, it isn't. A
lot of
easy.
shit comes
like,
with it.
It is hard. Some people stay together and you know, I want to make this point because I have seen a lot of people that have stayed in awful relationships because the kids or you know, but just because it's easier because they can't afford, like it's much more like you're gonna have a reduction in standard of living if you get divorced,
right?
So they don't want to go through that. And it's just easier.
But I think the aspect that I'm talking about is the
emotional
work part,
or the work part,
like having to put in the work to fix certain aspects of your relationship, because I believe that everyone can do that. I think a lot of times, a lot of the issues that people end up divorcing over are solvable issues if both partners put in the work. There are a million exceptions, you know.
Yeah. Couples have literally asked me, do you think we can work this out? And I'm like, I think anyone who wants to work things out can work things out.
Absolutely.
Are you willing to do the work is the question.
Yeah.
And I sent one couple, like a couple came to me. We had that discussion. And I was like, you guys need to think about that. She actually said, the wife said, I need to think if I'm willing to do the work. And she came back the next session and was like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like I'm out.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is an option.
Yeah.
I when I first started writing, my relationships book.
That's now going to be our.
That is now going to be our relationship book. Yeah. In hopes of one of us maybe finishing or like putting it together. Right. The opening line was this quote that I must have heard it somewhere. Like, I don't want to take like credit for it. Or maybe, I don't know. It was a long time ago, but the opening quote was, marriage is like running with the bulls. And when you stop running, you die.
Wow.
And that's really what I compare it to. I tell my couples all the time, like, you got to keep trying at it, and you got to keep, even in good times, you got to keep working at it, and especially in bad times. And if you stop and you give up, then it's done. It's over. Right. Like, there is no stopping and giving up.
Right.
If you expect the relationship to work. Continue.
Hopefully you are both working and growing, and you both end up in much better places, you know, internally. Yeah. Like, you can learn a lot in relationships. Like, sometimes clients will be like, oh, I need to be by myself to learn how to be with somebody. And I'm like, you don't really learn how to be somebody by yourself. You might need to be by yourself so you don't need someone, like to become self-efficient and feel like I don't have to be in a relationship. But you don't, like, that's not going to help you. Right. It will, I'm misspeaking, like, it will help you. But as far as relationships go, the place to do the work is in the relationship. Yeah. There was just one other bullet point I had, which I think relates to repair attempts. And I think Thich Nhat Hanh said this. He's like a Buddhist, was a Buddhist monk. He said, I'm sorry and I love you are the two most powerful sentences. Yeah. Yes. And I think that is important. Like, it goes back to repair attempts. Like, sometimes just saying I love you in the middle of an argument can be a repair attempt. Yeah.
I think that's something that Joe and I have gotten into the habit lately of doing that has really helped. Like, we'll disagree about something, and later I'll like I'll think about it, and I'll text him that, and I'll text him, I'm sorry, or, you know, whatever. Or I love you. And a lot of times he'll respond with like, that's all I needed to hear. Like, and then that's it. And the argument is squashed. And he's gotten good at doing that too.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Know? Yeah.
That's good stuff.
So
yeah. All right. I feel like we're done, but if you want to spend some time analyzing your sister's relationship, I guess that would be the only place
I feel like you were never on the hot seat.
I was not.
And that's it. And now episode over.
I think. What's there to put me on the hot seat for? I'm single.
I know, but you have a lot of data.
Relationship experience.
You have a lot of relationship
data. I say this all the time. Like, I've gotten better. Like, I was probably my best relationship self in my last relationship. And I don't know about the one before that, but like, like, I've gotten better. I've regressed some in other relationships.
Okay. Well, quickly, what has worked for you? In arguments, conflict?
Well, in conflict, that's where I was saying I think I probably am weak and I have work to do. Like, first, I try not to be attached. Like, there's a lot of things I just don't care about. Like, when I say I don't care, I mean in a good way. Like, if my partner wants to do this, like, okay, cool, let's do that. You know what I mean? If my partner doesn't want to do that, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, but when we argue, like when it's a big argument, I'm too attached to my perception and I need to work on that. That's probably, if I ever get in another relationship, that'll be the thing to work on.
Okay.
Yeah. And I say I've been working on that, and I think I have in a lot of other areas, but every once in a while there's something where I get stuck. You know,
how much of your knowledge on psychology and theories and your life as a professor do you think influences how you argue?
I think that's why I'm always trying to win.
Like, you have like concrete data as to why you are correct.
Yeah. Like, I got to go back a few relationships, but this example comes to mind. Like, a big fight with one of my exes was being friends with other exes. Okay. But her and I were together at the time, and she was, especially one particular ex, she had real issue with. And I would find data that supported being friends with your exes, and she would find data that supported you shouldn't be friends with your exes, and we just could never get anywhere with that. And
it's also like confirmation bias.
It's confirmation bias, but also it was data. Like I was quoting a book, right? Like a book about relationships. I was quoting articles about relationships. So was she. Like there's opposing views.
That's the thing about psychology.
Right. There's opposing views. But I think, all my knowledge plays a part in me being so sure I'm right. Yeah. And then I can't let go of that. Like even if I don't force it down your throat, like even if I don't get you to agree, I will walk away thinking, okay, you just be dumb about this. You know what I mean? Dumb is the wrong word, but you get me. Like you be naive, you be in the dark about this. I know I have the correct answer, and I don't think that's helpful.
Right.
Like I think I need more of like that one bullet point about being influenced by my partners. And I have been. Like I want to say that. Like I feel like this podcast has painted me in a negative light at times, like, or I've painted myself in a negative light in this podcast.
But I think it's more about being honest.
I am, right.
And we're human.
Right. But I want to say that I have been influenced. Like the reason I was the best partner I'd ever been in the last relationship is from other relationships and learning in those relationships and carrying that into the next one. Yeah. So
excellent. The first step is admitting that.
Admitting something's an issue.
Right.
Yeah. So being, as the student pointed out, in front of other students, I'm a little, like, I'm hard to argue with because when I argue my point well. Like I remember, this is like, I have very few childhood memories, but one of them is my teacher in elementary school telling me I should be a lawyer because I was arguing with her about the English language not making certain sense at points like this, you know what I mean? And arguing my point. Like I think or biologically, or maybe my parents were good arguers. I don't know, but somehow I was a good arguer in elementary school.
That's funny.
And that has...
I mean, I feel like some people are like born with that natural talent. Yeah.
And I thought I would be a lawyer. Like I was like, oh, that sounds good. Like my teacher said I should be a lawyer. I guess I'll be a lawyer. But that wore off quick. Like I was in elementary school.
You're probably really good at debate.
Yeah.
There was a debate club. You'd be the president.
I took a philosophy class that we had to, like, you got assigned. I didn't even get to choose which side I was on. And I like 100% crushed.
You didn't even agree with the side.
I don't know. I think I did agree, but luckily, like, but the argument was, are people inherently good or evil? And I was assigned evil.
Oh, of course you loved that.
Yeah. And I won.
Of course,
like they had no argument. I shut down every argument they had.
That's really funny.
I've always been good at it, but I have backed off. But I guess a topic here or there affects me in a way, and I'm like, I just go at it. Yeah. Especially psychology. I know we talked about attraction in a different episode, right? And we should probably come back to that because. As far as writing the book goes, I had finished that section. Like I wrote that section and I finished in quotation marks because I'm sure we'll go back and add and edit or whatever. But I got the main theories I wanted to get down. But yesterday in one of my classes, I was talking about attraction. And I was like, I used to be meaner to my class and I would be like, love is pathology. Like it's just your sickness being attracted to the sickness in someone else. And I used to say that and I like believed it, and I've tried to back off of that some, but I said it yesterday and they all agreed, and I was like, then what are you doing? Like you guys know this is like, you're attracted to them for sick reasons and yet you're engaging with it. Like, what are we doing as a human race? I don't know.
Or maybe you were just good at manipulating their ideas.
Maybe, yeah, I'm Mr. Manipulator. Good, that's come full circle now. Like we
brought it full circle.
Yeah, we can end, I guess.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on this episode of Therapist Say. I'm your host, Mel.
co-host, Berry.
Can you at least be the host today?
Nah.
Like, give it to me. Like,
you're
just
the host.
Once.
If we added up the words said, I think you win.
No,
today.
No way.
Yes. You think I spoke more than you?
I mean, maybe equal.
No.
All right. Okay. And that's a wrap on this episode of Therapists Say. We are the hosts, Mel and Berry, and we'll catch you
I don't even get to say anything.
No.
All right. Cool.
Right. Bye. All right. That's it for today's episode of Therapists Say. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully you laughed, learned something, or at least realized you're not the only one with issues.
New episodes drop every 2 weeks, so hit follow and don't forget self-care.